to it and shoot for the sky.
Let's get into this. Hello and welcome to the Ring Post Daily Podcast. You're listening to myself, Jesse Henrik, Joey Hudson, Austin Cochran, Eddie Wade, the RPD Prophecy Champion Tyreek Ramsey, and our guest today, the new Vegas Vixens Champion, SOS. Won the championship 17 days ago. How's that feel, ma'am?
I mean, it feels fine. I actually, it was actually really kind of cool. I got to work with D'Lo Brown and stuff, and got to tell him that I'm taking his
Awesome.
title and I will be leaving, and I left with it. So yeah, it was pretty good.
That's awesome you got to work with him. I bet he has so many like road stories, the things he could tell people about.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I only got like a little bit of knowledge from him, but other than that, yeah, I'm pretty sure he has tons, and I wish I had more time to talk to him about all of that.
All right. Well, we'd love to just get right into this. Kind of, working off what I just said.
Hmm? Hmm?
Hey, Fro.
I'm sorry, what, Jesse? What was that? What was that? And say that again?
He just looks very happy and shocked that we have
You're
a
back in,
17-year-old
Jesse.
day
You were
champion. So
frozen for a second.
Did
You,
I freeze?
Yes.
yes, right before your question, you froze. Yeah.
it was like the world's
Oh,
longest
okay.
pause.
We just seen this.
So what I said was, piggybacking off of what I just said, with the, you winning that new Vegas Vixens championship 17 days ago, what does it mean to you to be now the figurehead of, a women's division to hold the or that title? Um, I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Honestly, it's one of those things that I'm very humble about and very thankful for that a promotion even thinks of me in such a way that like my hard work is paying off, showing off to them that I can take the helm of the division as their champion and be able to kind of take the title and say, hey, like I'm the best here, and you're gonna have to bring somebody who you think is better than me, and kind of like really showcase that yeah, I'm pretty much the toughest around, and this is showing it. So yeah, I'm very very grateful that 3PWA, who's the promotion that I have the title for, even stated basically like, yeah, you're going to be the person, and I was like, cool, I'm taking it then.
That's awesome.
So
What do you think's gonna be the harder part, getting the title or defending it?
defending it's always the hardest part.
Yep. And it's
They
like
say every
we've
day it
heard
gets
from
they say every day the weight gets heavier.
Yeah, it's always going to get heavier.
and
Heavyweights
we've
are going
heard from other wrestlers that we've interviewed that, being that person of top of the division or a champion that's selected, it's almost like a validation for your career almost. Would you say that's accurate?
yeah,
Well,
because I
in
mean,
a way, yeah.
I would say yeah, because like I've been doing this, like training and also traveling combined like 9 years. I'm about to hit 10 next year.
Mm,
So being around this long and then getting validation like that is definitely something that makes me realize that like I know how to do this. I can do this. Someone like me can do this.
mm,
And that like I should keep doing it because I mean I have the work ethic, I have the drive, I have the passion, so I'm going to keep it going and show getting even just the top spot, like you said, instead of just having the title, having the top spot in itself is just as validating as like, yeah, they trust you to be for me at least, the girl that they have to
mm.
go against. That
Right.
whoever comes in that's pretty new to the promotion has to go against you, kind of deal. And I actually like, I'm grateful for that. Always, I'm always grateful for that.
Now, you'll have to excuse our ignorance a little bit because we just recently, became aware of you. Is this your first title?
No, this is my fourth, I think. I think it's my
Okay.
fourth if I remember correctly.
Okay, so you got some journeyman experience there. You're kind of, you know, adding to the list now, not
Yeah.
starting it.
Yeah, no, I'm
Okay.
adding to the list. Yeah.
Awesome.
Is this the first one where you're where you're treated as, the top of the division and that championship, or have the other titles, they kind of giving you that as well?
I would say they give me the same. The only one that probably didn't is I actually, because this is actually news for all of you guys, I actually won a title this past Saturday.
Oh,
I
well,
won
shit.
another one.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's the Western States Championship for a company out here in Tucson called Throwback Era. I went against a guy and I beat him up because, equal opportunity. So, I won that title, and this one like might mean kind of means like to me, but like it's because it's an equal opportunity title instead
Yeah.
of just like for the women, so it's a little different.
Oh,
So
I
the
see. I
other
see.
ones for sure, I would say like yeah, that it's definitely equal line. That one's just the only different one because now it's not just women I'm going against; it's also the guys, so
For
it's a little
sure.
different.
Nice.
The belt collector.
So now you got a
Calm
fifth
down,
reigning.
Kenny Omega.
Yeah.
Yeah, double champ.
Who do you think got
Protect your
bigger?
belts. Protect your belts out here.
Who do you think's got longer dreads, you or Booker T?
Cool.
Booker T's got some long ass dreads.
I think he actually does. He has longer ones because I think it goes all the way to like past his butt. Mine aren't there yet. I
I
try
heard
not to
that.
make them that long.
I heard that Bianca Belair's ponytail was like some extension. Booker T's ain't no
So
extension.
it was
Like
real.
I
It
don't
was
know. I
real,
just know Booker T's is real. Like he can just sit there and like smack you with like 5 different dreads and leave 5 different welts.
yeah.
All right.
So,
Ty,
so
keep us going.
yeah, so SOS, could you go into detail about like kind of the development of your character? Because it's to our understanding that you have kind of mixed personalities when it comes to in the ring. So can you go over like who you are in the ring?
Yeah, it's a long, complicated story. I'm just kidding.
Hey,
It's
bring it.
complicated, but like it's complicated because the character itself is complicated. So when I first started, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I was just like, oh, okay, well, I gotta figure it out. And me and my trainer was going through a bunch of ideas, and then um, he was like, "You would be the person that could do this kind of character. So let's do a split personality gimmick." And I'm like, "Oh, that's fun. That's a little complicated. Sure." And then we brought the name up of SOS. We were going to name it differently. And I was like, no, I want it to be literally, if we're doing 3 personalities, it has to be 3 different names: Sky, Olivia, Storm. That's it. And it took I want to say a while to really hone in on who SOS is because it really is a complicated gimmick in itself because I had to do a ton of research on dissociative identity disorder because it's a real
Hmm.
disorder, and I'm a kind of person that doesn't like to offend people with that kind of thing. So I really did research. I talked to people who have it. Like I really wanted to make sure not only do I do that justice, but I can convey it in wrestling. Because if you can't convey it in wrestling, I'm gonna have to go back to the drawing board. So
Mhm.
I've managed to figure it out, and it's still complicated at times because I have to figure out when to do certain things, when not to do certain things. But overall, when I have done a switch or anything like that, or I'm talking to myself, a lot of people really hone in on that and enjoy it. Plus, they sometimes they think it's funny because I do funny stuff sometimes where I'll yell over to my right, and they're like, "Who are you talking to?" I'm like, "Don't worry about it." Like it really
That's
makes people
awesome.
laugh. So yeah, I would say that's pretty much the development of her. It's just over time, I just consistently um, do research on the disorder, and also I find characters in movies and TV that I thoroughly enjoy and kind of take their little personality and essence and figure out who fits where and why I want them to fit in that bucket. So then I can really formulate the 3 personalities because they are definitely 3 different people. When you really sit down with me to go over it, I absolutely
Mhm.
have made them 3 separate people. They just happen to be in one person.
Mhm.
Well, I'll tell you,
Now,
I got that down to a T because when I'm sitting there talking to my dog and I do her voice, like I'm like I do her voice. So when I'm
Yeah.
sitting here talking to my dog and then I make her talk back to me, you would be like, if you were in my house, you'd be like, something's wrong with that guy. But
Have you ever seen anybody currently or in history go in with this approach with the whole mixed personalities?
I don't think I have, and if the only person I would say would be like McFoley, like the
Yeah,
closest
yeah.
person to that would be McFoley, and
Abyss.
he, yeah, a bit actually. You know what? This is another one because he did do
Yeah.
that. Both of them like did really well with their own things, and I feel like the way I'm doing is like a pivot to a different way of going about it, but it's still all the same. And
Yeah.
so that's yeah, I would say those two definitely for sure. The more I like,
Cody Rhodes
especially
and
the more I think about
Stardust.
Abyss, the more I remember. Like I remember his whole switch, and I used to be so confused. I'm like, oh wait, they are the same person.
Well, that's like Cody Rhodes and Stardust. Like, I knew it was Cody. I was like, I don't know if I like this, like, whole character change. Like, we
Yeah,
know he's not that loony. Like, Goldust was different, because Goldust was, like, really living the character. Cody just goes from talking like Cody with his mustache to hissing like a cat and talking about the stars. And it's like, dude, like, what'd you take before you went out there?
What's funny is
So,
that I didn't find that out till like 2 years after he was started because I wasn't watching, of course, the show week to week basis. I just look back and I'd look at wrestling and be like, oh, there's a Stardust now. And then 2 years like, wait a second, that's Cody Rhodes. Wait,
it took you that long?
I wasn't
Yeah, not
into
not
with
gonna
the
lie, homie.
product. No,
That's a
look,
little embarrassing.
I wasn't into with the product. I dabble in it still a little more, and then but then it finally crossed my mind. Just he was talking different. I just didn't see it.
Dude, that's like I know Undertaker and Kane's not really brothers, but when they do like brothers at WrestleMania, like at last year's Mania, they were like only three brothers have ever faced each other at WrestleMania: the Hardys, Brett and Owen, and the Usos. I'm like, there's Kane and Taker. Like I'm keeping the kayfabe alive. Like to me, they're brothers. Like you're not fooling me. So, in your nearly won championship reign, the one we know about and the one we just found out about, is there any one specific that you want to maybe defend one of your titles against?
yeah. So I've been begging promotions just because I want it to happen. I really want to face Nixon Newell.
Okay.
Really bad. I've always watched her. I wanted, when she was Tegan Knox, and I really want to have the opportunity to wrestle her. That would be my number one, just because I've been asking for it. And if I could, absolutely, like if there was no budget, there was no issues, I would love to wrestle Athena.
Okay.
Oh
I would
yeah.
say those two
That'd be
for
cool.
sure. If it was like more of the indie level, I would absolutely say someone like Jada Stone. Jada Stone would be one I would say for sure. I've been watching her, and we were supposed to have a match actually around this time last year, but she ended up having to pull out for I believe it was like a taping for TNA or something. Um, but her for sure, and probably Zeta Steel
Oh yeah.
would be a good one. So yeah, but I'm willing to just wrestle anybody at at this point. Like if they want to come and wrestle for the title, why not?
See,
Hmm.
she's
So
on her belt collector mode because now she's wanting to face Athena. Now she's wanting to
yeah,
end that
I want
title
the
streak and
ROH
get that belt.
title.
Hmm.
It's interesting that you bring up Nixon Newell because she was part of a trio of those releases a couple months back where it was her, Baron Corbin, and Indy Hartwell, and
Yep.
I have correctly predicted where both Baron Corbin and now Indy Hartwell would go. I said Baron would go to Bloodsport, and I said Indy would go to TNA,
Yep.
and now I am hoping and I'm praying that I'm right about Nixon because I really want her in Stardom. They need like a new face of Gaijin in Japan, and I think that she would totally fit that bill.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure she would, and she absolutely would. I would love to have seen her there. I would love to see her there for sure.
You're gonna have to step it up and start talking to the titles like they're real people.
I know. I'm gonna have to start naming them too.
It's just when
That would
it,
be that would be epic.
it's just when the day comes and like you no longer have the title, like who you get to talk to.
Yeah, I'm gonna be like, oh no.
The government took my
Where
baby.
where did my friends go?
When you're the last one drinking at the party.
All right, Austin, keep us going.
Absolutely. So I one of the things that I'm kind of intrigued about is, I guess it's the mental aspect of things. Me personally, I have real bad performance anxiety anytime I get in front of a crowd for literally anything. So my question to you is: do you have a routine or anything to prepare yourself mentally and physically before you step into the ring?
Yeah, my first thing I say is don't fuck up.
Okay.
Like absolutely
Work.
100%. Like because
Don't fuck it.
usually I'm always nervous before I go out there. I don't know if a lot of wrestlers told you guys that, but usually we're usually nervous every time we go out there. Um, but I try not to let it get to me because if it gets to me is when that's when I won't do my best.
Mm-hmm.
So I usually tell myself like don't mess up, you're gonna be fine. If you mess up, just roll with it. Don't try and beat yourself up over it. It happens,
Mm-hmm.
it's a performance art. So when if we mess up, we know what we're supposed to do next anyway.
Correct.
And we just kind of keep it going. So I know that for sure I do. Depending on the time, like the time of day, because sometimes when it's local shows I'm usually here helping out, setting up the ring, etc. But if I'm like going to like California, for example, usually I'm in the back with like my earbuds in, just playing some music. Most times it's usually between like I'll listen to like the midnight because usually they're like synthwave sound music, or I'll go to the complete opposite side of the spectrum and go find some heavy metal or something to just
Okay.
like start going.
Headbangers.
um because
Heavy.
like it just depends on the field. Like, do I want to be relaxed and chill, or do I want to be super aggressive? Who's coming
Mm-hmm.
out today? Is it Olivia or is it gonna be Sky? So
Okay.
then I
I
need to
Right.
love it.
figure out.
I
Mhm.
Yeah.
I was
So
just about to say, um, if you're a heavy metal fan, I think what would be perfect is if you came out to Sleep Token's new song, um, Emergence, that's been like blowing up. They've doubled their listeners on Spotify just with that one song, and it's so weird because it's like a or personality disorder of music where it's so many different genres all coming together, kind of under the banner of heavy metal.
yeah, I actually listened to that song because I've been a fan of them for a bit. So, and I've been debating on if I'm going to use it for a show. I might use
Nice.
it here for the May 24th show for Arizona Wrestling Federation because that one's also is a title match. So I'm probably gonna get a third belt. so, so I
Oh,
might
all
use it
right, the
for I might use it for
confidence.
then. I might use it for that
Better
event.
watch out, Ty. She's gonna
I was
come take
about to
our
say
belt.
that.
I
No,
know I might show up. Might show up and be
You,
four belts.
you
I
know,
mean, a
like I
better
like
better chance than these schmucks over here. I mean, they put up a fight though.
like as a wrestling manager, like I'm not nervous anymore about going out there. But like my first like show being a manager, I was so worried I was gonna botch something up, and then like I fell backwards over the stairs.
Wait. So
Also,
now you're saying that you're
sandbag
confident
somebody.
even though you went dead weight on the
Yep,
last show?
sandbag somebody.
I just know, dude, that was like a move called on
That's
the
you
spot.
confident?
No, like that was just me being told to take a bump that we'd never even practiced. I've never taken a move like that. But like my first ever going out there with any type of wrestler before I was even with Eddie over there, I'm just walking back and I fall over the back, like, or I hit the corner of the stair and fall, and I was like, "There's that botch I was worried about." Like I knew it was coming. I got back up and I was like, "I'm done. Like I retire. Like I don't want to do this no more."
Kind of shifting gears. Earlier, you mentioned working with D'Lo Brown. Who would you say taught you the most? Whether it's somebody you've met or just somebody that you watch or a seminar you've attended. Just who would you say that you've seeped the most knowledge from?
Um, there's three people, but the one's kind of the obvious is my trainer. Um,
Recently.
uh, his name is Lawrence Tyler. He actually used to be in WWE for like a lot early 2000s is what he said. Like in ECW era, like the early days, and stuff.
Okay.
Then, he's very knowledgeable. He's the reason why I have the character I have. And I usually talk to him quite constantly on wrestling and what can I do better and all that kind of stuff. Like really trying to make myself a better wrestler and what I can do to kind of elevate myself even further. Um, and I would say the other two would be Jazz. I've watched her since I was a kid. I actually want to wrestle for her company. I know two people from there, so I'm like, can you guys try and get me out there? Because I know it's in Houston, so it's like it's a bit of ways for me, but I'm like, I will take the flight. I will do it because I will do anything to work with her to wrestle anybody that she has trained there. Like because the couple that I've met like are amazing and phenomenal, and I would love to work with any of them. So that would be her, and my third one would be Brian Kendrick. I actually met him in Cali a few years ago, and he comes out here to Arizona every so often. Um, and I every time I've talked to him, like I've just asked him questions about wrestling. I've asked him about character stuff, things like that, and he's been nothing but like super chill, answering those kinds of questions and everything. So those would definitely be my top three for sure.
Dude, I like Jazz. Like when I first saw her come into the B in like 2001, like I was like, oh, this chick's gonna be like a game changer. Now I'm
A
not
star.
now I'm just saying this because she's the one that had the catchphrase. I loved it when she was with Theodore Long, and every week on Raw, he'd be like, "The bitch is back and the bitch is black." I was like, "Put that on a shirt. I want it." Like that was just like the most coolest catchphrase. I was like 8 years old. I was like, I love that. Like, I was like, can they say that on TV?
Apparently they could.
I loved it.
Apparently they could at that
Like
time.
that was so cool to me.
All right. Well, we asked this to everybody just to kind of get a feel of where your headspace is. You know, who are you as not only a wrestler yourself, but as a fan? Who is on your personal Mount Rushmore of, you know, either wrestling in general or particularly, I'd love to hear your women's Mount Rushmore.
Uh, Jazz, Charlotte, Bailey. Who else? Uh, if I could wrestle
Woo!
her, but she's passed, is China. China's definitely on my list. Um, and if she didn't retire, it would be Awesome Kong.
Oh, okay.
Could you
Yeah.
imagine China versus Awesome Kong? Like, give China some like.
I would die.
Well,
I wouldn't even be a
Awesome.
wrestler. I would have been like, that's it. I don't even want to be part
Take
of
my
that
money. Take my
group.
money.
Well, Awesome Kong actually had skill. Not saying China didn't, but like China would have to get in there and like train some and be like,
Yeah.
look, we want you to go out there and put on like a Charlotte versus Sasha Banks type of style match, like a 5-star match. But if you would have gave China like the room to work and let her get ready for it, I think it could have been a good match.
Oh,
Right.
100%. 100%.
You know, it's interesting that you bring up Bailey because I feel like a lot of people, when they, come up with Mount Rushmore, particularly putting women on it, it's either Bailey or it's Monet. So
Ugh.
I guess I should rephrase that. Why do you kind of put Bailey on there but leave Mercedes off?
Mercedes is not my type of wrestler. I like her. I don't hate her. I like her.
I do.
I do like I ouch. I watched her stuff, but she's never been the one that like I connected with when I first like was watching wrestling. It was always Bailey. It was Bailey and Becky. It especially was Bailey because I whatever like however Bailey works in her work ethic like that's how like what I always liked. And even to this day, like I kind of base how I want to be as a wrestler off of Bailey because she's a workhorse to a T. And like I personally think she hasn't had her flowers like everybody else yet in the Four Horsewomen, and I
No.
feel like she should. um, so like to me, like that's her path is like how I envision how mine is. And that I've always been a big fan of hers, and I will always continue to be. But yeah, I've always put Bailey on my list. Mercedes is like in my top 10, but she's not like my top five.
That's fair.
Now, which version of Bailey though? Role model or Hug Bailey? I'm not gonna lie, I
Role
like
model.
Hug Bailey.
Hug Bailey's great. I think role model
I like role
Bailey
model.
is better. Like
I like role
it's
model.
like they're almost to the same level, but role model is a little bit higher.
I
I
Yeah.
love
love
her ongoing feud with Michael Cole. It's just a joy to
Yes.
watch.
Well, like in an era where like you didn't want to turn Cena heel and like all this stuff, like dude, you had money right there with the hugger gimmick, and they threw it and like they just said like, nah, we're gonna go a different way. Like, bro, that I'm a hugger shirt was like everywhere. Like
Yep.
even I still want it today, but I remember her saying something like, I realized I was gonna have to hug like each and every fan at meet and greets. Like
Well, and think of
that
how
does
many
have to suck.
people. Think of how many people, again, particularly women, who have been inspired by Hugger Bailey to get into the industry. I mean, just on the short list of people who are kind of really making a name for themselves right now, you got Billy Starks over in AEW, and then you have Izzy Moreno, who just got onto WWE's radar too. So,
Yep.
I mean, it's crazy how much Bailey has, put an impact on the industry. But you're absolutely right. It feels like she just hasn't gotten her flowers yet for that work.
I think she'll have her Seth Rollins moment eventually, to where she's
Yeah.
like, "Nope, I'm gonna take it. It's
It's
time to."
coming because she's
Yes.
the way she's been talking, especially with Chris Valet.
Chris Van
Like
Lee.
yeah, she really like it almost like alluded that she's about to do it. Like you can kind of sense the tension that it's getting there. Like
Right.
she's getting to that point where she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna have to take it now."
I
So
think
Mm.
that was the interview where I heard her say something like she realized she's going to hug all the fans at the meet and greet, and she
yeah,
said some fans could learn how to shower. And I
Oh.
get that, like I do, because like not all, like not out of thousands and thousands of fans, like some of them probably don't think about, hey,
Mm.
I'm about to meet Bailey today. I'm probably gonna want to smell a little extra decent, like like buy a can of
Even in
Axe. It's
arenas,
$7. It's not
Yeah,
expensive.
even in
I was about
arenas,
to say.
I've been to shows, and man, I'm like, y'all heard of this thing called deodorant? Like, I got plenty on, and y'all are cheering, but just yeah.
I would have loved to get like an opportunity with Bailey. Like I know I'm gonna hug her. Go online and buy like some of that like nasty ass fart spray, and right before
What the
you
hell's
hug her,
wrong
like
with you?
spray yourself and just be like, "Sorry, I've walked like 4 days in a row just to meet you."
Oh, goodness.
Oh man.
That's just wrong.
Just to see your reaction. Is she
Ty,
gonna be nice about it, or is she gonna call
Ty,
you out
keep
and be
us
like,
going here.
"Bro,
Get the mic away from Joey.
So, SOS, what would you say is the best advice you've received in the industry? And you mentioned your trainer in the past as well. But who was to give that advice, and well, what was the advice?
um, there's two top ones, but with my trainer, like he really gave me one, and it's the reason why I stuck around because I've talked about this before in a couple other interviews. I almost quit 2 years in
Hmm.
because I was very frustrated where I was going. I wasn't really getting booked. I was getting frustrated with with just like the industry because one, I didn't really understand how it really worked. I wasn't getting the proper networks to go anywhere. I was still sticking in Arizona, and I was like, well, why? Like, what is? I was kind of like what's wrong with me? What am I doing wrong? But then I
Yeah.
was getting frustrated about it because I felt like I was being held back, and he sat down with me and he was just like, your path is different from everybody else's. Stop comparing your path to everybody to them. Like you're different from everybody. Especially because like down here, there's only I think right now there's only 4 or 5 of us female wrestlers in Arizona alone in comparison
Wow.
to everybody else in the Southwest, which has many. There's only 5 of us here. There's only a handful. So um like he kind of just like really solidified like your path is different, your path is going to be different, and as frustrating as it's going to be, stick with it and you'll really see like the fruits of your labor pretty much. And I have been it took a while, but like I was frustrated at that point, and I'm kind of glad that I listened to him rather than like, nah, I'm leaving, because really if I left I think I would have been miserable because I love wrestling too much to leave it that way.
Hmm.
That would be one advice, and the other one I actually got from Paul London. And I thought it was really funny because he watched me wrestle in a battle royal with a bunch of guys. And I was the only girl. And he's like, "Damn, you could actually work with the dudes. Why aren't you working the dudes?" And he's like, all you gotta do just be a little bit more aggressive. He's like, really just like lay it in, because I was just like, I'm so used to wrestling people who hit a little soft, not too soft, but soft enough, and I kept mimicking it. And he was like, "No, hit him harder. Like it'll be fine. We're wrestlers. Hit him hard." And so ever since then, I've been hitting really good. Like everybody's like, "Oh, you actually hit really nice. Now you don't hit soft." I'm like, "No, I was taught not to. I was told not to." And honestly, it made it a positive impact, because you can clearly see like I'm really trying to like beat the crap out of somebody, but I'm really not beating them to all
Yeah.
hell.
Right.
So yeah, like that, I would say that really gave Paul London's cool, but like yeah, that was the one advice that really helped me out.
And
Cause
down to the core, that's the art of it.
yeah, exactly.
There's an old Fit Finley quote. Fit Finley is one of the greatest, women's match producers in
Yep,
history, in my book.
yep,
But he always said, I hit people very hard in very safe places, and I feel like a lot of the women that he kind of coached, through WWE and that crop that we're seeing in the main event now, I feel like they really took it to heart, because you see a lot of that where like people are laying in now. Like it's not,
Hmm.
the 2000s or even the 2010s, where like now it actually looks legit.
yeah. No, we're all connecting, and it's really nice. We're all laying it in, where we're just like, we'll lay it in, and if it hurts too much, we'll apologize later. Like, we want to
There
make
you
it look
go.
good. We really want to, like, especially for women's wrestlers, we really want to be just as equal to the men. Like, we really want to be seen like as taken seriously, and a lot of people are now noticing that, and that's like the plus for me, in my opinion, because I'm like, now you guys realize the women's wrestling, like, we can go just as much as the dudes can. So.
Right.
Like I'd
Yeah, my
like to compete
man.
in like an all women's battle royal and just have all the women beat me up. Like life's all about the experiences you have. Like
Well, Joey,
no
keep us
offense
going.
whatsoever. Just go out there and get demolished by like 14 different women. Like sign me
Now
up.
you get thrown out immediately. You get thrown out immediately.
Uh,
Well, at least let me take
you would
some
be the
off.
You are
you would
not
be the
Santina
Santina
Morella. I was
Morella.
about to
Yeah.
say.
But anyways, Joey, keep us going here.
So at what age were you when you realized you wanted to be a wrestler? Do you remember
uh
that?
I was probably like 12. I had to really think about it. I was young, because I believe it was 12, because my dad took us to a Dodie Royal Rumble, and I watched it, and I was like, "Oh, this is so cool! Like I want to do this." And it wasn't like I was really solidified by it by the women's matches, because as you guys were just talking about, like the 2010s and the 2000s weren't really strong suit for the women. I was really interested in like the like Undertaker, Edge, like all of them. Like I really wanted to be like, oh, I want to be a wrestler, but I want to be like them. So like, where can I find that? So
Now, how
that really.
old?
Go ahead.
What? I was gonna say, if you want to be a wrestler at 12, what? How old were you when you became a wrestler?
I didn't do that until 10 years later, so I was 22.
Okay.
So you knew you wanted to do it, and you made it happen.
Yeah, I just did it. The interesting part is like I with my journey like from there is like I kept watching it, but then I also wanted to be an artist, so I was trying to do that, and then I graduated high school. I went to college because my whole idea was if wrestling doesn't work out, I have a backup plan. And the backup plan is I have a visual art degree. I can just work anything with graphic design, things like that, and the other. So I got my degree. I came down here to Arizona, started training, and like now I've been with it ever since. It took a bit, but it took several states being moved, but I managed to get here, and now I'm here, like actually living my dream. So.
So I am kind of
That's
curious
awesome.
too. What does your friends and family think of you being a wrestler? Like, do they think it's ridiculous? Do they support it? Because like I can see like your mom, like most moms out there being like, "Don't you go get hurt out there?" Like, well, I kind of have to. Like that's part of the job. Like I'm not gonna go out there and just not get
Yeah,
hurt.
my friends think it's the coolest thing ever. Because like I'll show them videos and pictures, and they're like, "Oh my god, you're a badass." Because naturally, like outside of the ring, I'm very quiet. I'm very to myself. I'm just like, I'm to myself. I'm an introvert. But then when I go to be a wrestler, I'm like a whole different person. And they're like, oh, that person's cool. That person's badass. And I'm like, oh, thanks. That means in real life, I'm not, not as cool or badass, I guess. But my family, at first, my dad was for it. My mom wasn't really, because she was just kind of, it wasn't the worry of getting injured. She just didn't think it was something to put my time in, because she saw it more like thinking I was doing it as a hobby instead of, mom, no, I want to make it a career. So at first she was kind of about it, and then she kind of started getting interested, especially because my stepdad was a huge wrestling fan. I found out, so like he wanted to go watch my matches, and he watched a few of them. But then she stopped having to come because she was worried I was going to get hurt. And then 2 years ago, I got hurt. And so, so she was actually happy she wasn't there. But yeah, now she's like, she's super supportive. Like whenever I post, kind of like an Instagram picture or something and it posted over on Facebook, she goes and shares it instantly. And she's like, oh my God, look at my middle kid. Like, and it's actually
That's
it's kind of
awesome.
nice. And then when I see her, she always wants to take a picture with me, and post it. So yeah, she's super supportive now, and like, whenever I need a place to stay or whatever up in Northern California, like she's the first person I will talk to. Like, hey, do you have space for me, or can you can you help me get a hotel room? Because with her job, she gets like a bunch of points with like Hilton and stuff, so she'll use it on me because she never uses it. So I'm like, yes, thank you, free hotel room, free for me, thanks, I
so
appreciate it.
so it
That's
took
awesome.
mom to some time to come around to the idea.
Yeah, it took time for her to warm up to realize like I'm not doing this as a hobby. I'm doing this as like I want this to be a career. And like at that point when she figured it out, is when she was like, all right, I fully support it. Like just don't get hurt. And then when I got hurt, she was like, she looked at me like, are you serious? I'm like, well,
That's like people at my job. They don't like you can tell they don't watch wrestling because like they think they hear me as a wrestling manager and they're like, oh, so you go out there and beat people up. I'm like, no, I have a wrestler who does that. Like I'm behind him. And
right.
they expect me to be like this guy that goes out there and beats people up, and it's like, dude, I don't even know if I could do all that. But when they see videos of me online, like getting in old ladies' faces and stuff and yelling at them, they're just like, but that's not you. Like
Yeah.
we don't see that side of you at work. Like I can't see that being you. I'm like, oh well, neither did I before I was told like you got to go out there and say it with your chest. You got to go out there
Yep.
and kind of mean it. I'm like, I can. It's just like I'm glad it's a PG show. I really am, because if it wasn't, I would probably get canceled. Half the shit I want to
You'll
say
have
to
to
people at times.
you'll have to excuse Joey. He never turns down a opportunity to stroke his own ego.
No, no, nothing like that at all. I just kind of relate to what she was saying because, like, going out there and doing some of that stuff, and then people being like, "Is this you in this video?" Like, yeah,
Yes.
like yeah, that was me yelling at some kid over the weekend. Like you can't be that way with customers. I know.
Goodness.
All right.
So,
But the
I actually wanted to shift gears a little bit. Now, I know you talked about some of your accomplishments this year, and you're having a hell of a year, it sounds like. Are there any accomplishments that you hadn't gone over so far that you've achieved this year? And with it being almost halfway through, we've almost reached it. What else are you still
that is
aiming for
true.
this year? What would you like to What would you like to do?
um I mean, my other accomplishment I would like to say, because it's to me it's a big deal because it meant a lot. Is I got to wrestle for a promotion a couple of months ago, called River City Wrestling, and they wanted me back in September, but I couldn't make it, so I had to pull out of the show. And then they got me again for their Rumble, and it really solidified my like it solidified to me my validation of my work ethic, because I managed to keep up with the other women, and they were all about like a lot of people were similar experience with me, because most times when I've wrestled, it usually is someone that's like 2 3 years And I'm just like, yeah, I'm 9. So like, it's very weird. It's like a huge experience gap. But being with people who are around my experience was amazing. And like, also, that was my first show that was ever streamed on, like, it was on Title Network. It was my first time ever being on a streamed like TV like esque
That's
show.
awesome.
So I'm already like, I'm trained in that by my trainer, but this is my first time ever having the ability to. And I was like super nervous for a bit because I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna be on like the streaming network. This is gonna be good. This is gonna like really help elevate me further in my career. And it did, because a lot of other promotions realized who I was. I was like, where have you been? I'm like, I've been here. Just I never had the opportunity yet. So that was like my one big accomplishment, especially for me, is like being able to be on a streaming service, like Title Network, for a promotion. As far as
So
others, I really just want to be able to travel more, especially on the East Coast. Actually, coming up on the 17th, I'll be going to Louisiana for the first time, and
Nice.
I'm super excited. Um, because the last time I was over on the East Coast was actually before I got hurt. Yeah, so it's been 2 years because I was over in Georgia at that point in time. But I haven't been back since, and I've only been to Georgia, so Louisiana's gonna be my first time. But I want to be able to wrestle on the East Coast more. Um, I know it's a little pricey because, like, plane tickets and everything, but I'm always willing to, like, go over to the East Coast to kind of make a name further for myself rather than just stay in the Southwest. Um, and there is other stuff in the works, and one of them that I really am excited for when it does happen is Championship Wrestling. Uh, I got to talk to Zicky Dice when he was over at 3PWA. Now he's like, "Yeah, we're gonna have to use you at some point." And I'm like, "Please, I would love to, please." So that's like in the works. I'm waiting for that. I'm super excited for when that happens. But yeah, I'm like, I have goals, but my goals are like kind of, I want to say tentative, as in, it's, if it happens this year, cool. If it doesn't, that's perfectly fine. We'll shoot for next year. So
So what you're saying is WWE's ID program needs to get their butts in
Well,
gear and ID you,
here's the thing,
so
well,
you
you
man.
can
it
get
would
that
be,
match with Zeta Steel.
I mean, I would like it. It would be really nice. It would be nice if they did. Yeah, I would love that. Honestly, because I feel like I could. I feel like I have the requirements for it. I feel like I have the drive and the passion to be actually ID'd.
Yeah, I
So
believe I was
You're
telling
right.
these guys on the last show. I'm glad they finally like came out with that because of course they had the what was the NIL?
Next in
Is that what
line.
the
yeah, next in
yeah?
line.
And that was of course for college athletes. But I was like, when are they going to have a program for the actual independent wrestling scene to where the same deal and bring talents up through that system?
Yep.
All right.
Last Saturday, I seen that you you were in a match against Savannah Stone at AEFW Aftershock, and I was just wanting to get your thoughts on how that went and everything.
She beat me up bad. We if It goes back to where I was talking about, where people, like, you got to learn to hit hard. She hits really hard. Like, I would say she is equivalent to like Japanese strong style, like hard hitting, which is
Ooh.
fine with me because I can go toe to toe, as long as we both are aware that this is equal. um, and she did. It was a lot of fun. Every time this is like my third time working Savannah, and every time we've beat the crap out of each other, and we're just like, yeah, we did a great job, and high fived each other because the crowd was into it. And this one, probably was our favorite. It was probably our favorite out of the three because even we had the guys backstage watching. They were all watching through the curtain. Like, they were telling me when we were back there that everybody was watching it, and I was like, "What?" And they're like, "Yeah, we all were like peeking through the curtain and everything, and just like watching you guys beat the crap out of each other." I'm like, "Good." So that means it was a good match. You guys were paying attention. And even the promoter's mom was there, and she usually just handles tickets, and she usually doesn't watch the show. And she actually watched it, and she was like, "Yeah, I really liked your match." And this is the first time she's ever talked to me, and I was like, "Whoa!" Okay. So like, even you watched it. So I was telling, I tell Savannah that, and I'm like, I think we did a phenomenal job with the, not just the fans, but with the other wrestlers, to show that, like, you and I are just like a couple of badasses here. Like we don't take people's shit. And like we'll hit hard if we need to hit hard and all that stuff, and make a story. And that's literally what we did. But yeah, like that match, I very much enjoyed it. I'm still sore from it, um,
Usually,
especially with
usually the
especially with
first
my
one.
eye. So, cause like we did a gator roll and she hit my eye with her head. So like my eye was like sore. It's still sore. Like when I look off to the side, like hard enough. But outside of that, I'm just like sore, but it doesn't stop me from going to training. It doesn't stop me to going to my next show. So I'm just like, okay. So
Well, speaking of those next shows, I feel like we've taken up enough of your time, but we would love to hear where people can find you next live, and then also where can they find you on social media?
yeah, so my next couple shows is I know that on May 10th we're doing a student showcase for the Arizona Wrestling Federation here. I want to be wrestling that with one of the students. That will be here in Phoenix, and then after that would be the Louisiana show. I'll be in I believe it's in Alexandria. I'll be posting the poster because they're giving it to me. But it will be there on May 17th, and then the 18th I'll be coming back to Phoenix and working a lucha show here in Phoenix as well. And then on the 24th, I'll be working Arizona Wrestling Federation for their Wild Card Rumble, and that will be over here in actually in Peoria, which isn't too far from Phoenix. And that's my title match against Brittany Brooks. And then after that, I believe there's a 31st show out in Tucson with Throwback Era where I'll be defending the Western States Championship as well against somebody. I don't know who. They have a mystery opponent for me. So,
Okay. Maybe it's D'Lo.
oh
Or,
God, he'll be
or
like,
The
you know
Rock.
what? I'm
The
gonna
Rock.
fight you for 2 titles, and I'll be like, okay. But yeah, those are my next few shows, especially for May. To find me on my socials, for TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. And I also have Blue Sky in case people use that. It's all Save One's Soul. My Facebook is literally SOS. Just because I don't have a last name and I don't like using Noel because people put it as my last name on posters and I don't like it. So it's SOS. And I believe that's it.
What's Blue Sky? Is that a social?
Yeah, it's basically like
It's
the equivalent to Twitter, but it's not Twitter.
Mhm.
it's
Without the
it's
toxicity,
Twitter
as my friend
without the
would say.
politics.
Yeah, without the politics.
I'm
Okay.
gonna have to check that
At least
out.
it's got a longer name than X.
Yeah.
Like I'm still calling it Twitter. I don't care. Like
Mhm.
Twitter will always be Twitter to me. Or Cope will always be Edge. Like you're not changing my mind on certain things. Call me stuck in my ways.
Well, thank you, ma'am, for your time. We really appreciate you coming on. We appreciate you, also, coming on with us this time, where unfortunately we weren't able to do it last week. So, thank you for being flexible and persevering through our issues. So, really, from the bottom of our hearts, thank you.
Hey,
But for myself,
I was just gonna say we haven't seen it. Do you have the title on you?
No.
I was gonna say, why ain't you been flashing that big piece of jewelry? Like Tyreek's
So
got it over there on
it's
his shoulder.
because
Like,
it's because with this promotion they keep the title.
Mhm.
Otherwise, I would be holding it. But they kept the title because they've had too many issues where people would keep it and then not come
people,
back, and they have to get it sent back. And although he trusts me, he knows that I would come back.
Set the
He is,
precedent.
yeah. So yeah,
they don't want to. They don't want people pulling a Shawn Michaels or a Logan Paul or a Simon Guevara with it.
yeah, exactly. So I'm like, I understand. That's perfectly fine. That's why I took a bunch of pictures with it. So
Well, we look forward to seeing what comes of all these matches, and hopefully you end up keeping these titles. I know Brittany Brooks particularly is a tough customer, so
yeah, she is.
looking forward to hearing about that.
Yeah, she is. The thing is, though, is I helped taught I helped teach her, so because she trained at where I trained at, so
gonna have to keep
Nice.
working on
I
getting
know
on
her a
those.
little better than most people.
Mhm.
Gonna have to work on keep going on those streaming networks.
Yep.
If
100%.
you
Oh,
never
yeah.
make it on Peacock, at least you could always try to get it on Cockatoo. I don't know if
All
that's a
right.
thing.
Well,
It might be out there nowadays.
from myself, Jesse Henrik, Joey Hudson, Austin Cochran, Eddie Wade, the RPD Prophecy Champion himself, our Mr. Tyreek Ramsey, our special guest, SOS. Thank you for coming on, and we hope you all have a wonderful night.